Hey guys, Blameitonjorge here, and this is Lost Media Found in 2023, Part 2. Part 1 covered all the Lost Media discoveries from January to March, and this video will cover everything that was found from April to June. As you can tell by how long this video is, a lot of stuff was found, so let's get into it.
Blameitonjorge. This obscure computer game saw a Japan-only release on PC and Mac in the year 1997. Blameitonjorge is a 3D adventure game featuring point-and-click mechanics and a series of puzzles. The game was well documented during its release window, being shown in multiple magazines and featured on the webpage of the developer Euro Ltd. The archived version of the site only preserved one of multiple images, and this prompted some online to begin searching for the game as early as 2020. This inevitably led to the discovery of the box art and 2 online auctions. On April 1st, Internet Archive user Beanstalk Redump uploaded the entire game online.
680 Home Appliances Commercial. During the 1990s, citizens in the Philippines would occasionally be unnerved by this disturbing commercial related to 680 Home Appliances, a Filipino appliance store located in Manila. Opening with the chime of a piano chord and creepy choir voices, the video shows some electronics that are partially constructed, with pieces appearing out of thin air to complete the assemblies. Possibly the most disturbing aspect of the commercial is the constant droning of a heavy bass sound in the background. Overall, the commercial gives the vibes of being created as a side gig by a horror movie director. The last airing of this commercial was in the year 2000. It wasn't until April 3rd, 2023 that the commercial would be unearthed and uploaded to Facebook by View on the 3rd Jojo Baylon.
The Beatles live at Stowe School, Buckinghamshire. Who doesn't love the Beatles? The world-famous English rock band is considered to be the most influential band of all time. But did you know that the earliest known full recording of a live concert they played in the UK has only recently been discovered? In the middle of their UK tour, the group's manager, Brian Epstein, was asked by a student named David Morse if they would be willing to perform for the student body at Stowe Boarding School in Buckinghamshire. Epstein, recognizing the boy's family name, agreed to the booking for a fee of £100, which Morse raised by selling tickets to his schoolmates. On April 4th, 1963, the Beatles performed for the student body, as an hour-long quarter-inch tape recording was made by one of the students. Part of the tape would air on April 3rd, 2023, almost exactly 60 years from the recording date, on BBC's Front Row broadcast.
Guardians of the Cosmos. Guardians of the Cosmos is very much like the Toonmaker's Sailor Moon pilot. However, this specific pilot was based on the 1986 anime Saint Seiya. It was animated with a westernized art style and features an altered story, meant to appeal to American viewers. Guardians of the Cosmos was produced in 1993 by Renaissance Atlantic, a company that was also involved with that 1994 Sailor Moon pilot. The full pilot episode was found unexpectedly by YouTuber Ray Mona when obtaining documents and media related to the Sailor Moon pilot from the Library of Congress. Following this find, Guardians of the Cosmos was uploaded in full on April 9th.
The Holy Bible. The Game Boy Advance and its predecessor saw an abundance of bizarre applications and peripherals. Many went unreleased, and Rainbow Mission's adaptation of The Holy Bible was no exception. Literally being just the entire Bible on the GBA, this game was very close to completion, being published by Cave Entertainment and having completed box art. The Holy Bible was set for release, but the project was ultimately cancelled. Not much was actually known about this cancelled project. That is, until Twitter user Great Gonzalez provided the prototype to Forest of Illusion on April 10th. This game was one of the final pieces preserved by Forest of Illusion themselves, as the preservation group disbanded shortly after.
Spartacus and the Sun Beneath the Sea, English dub. Between 1985 and 1987, a French animated sci-fi adventure series aired with the title The Engulfed Worlds, which was later dubbed Spartacus and the Sun Beneath the Sea. The show involved a lost city far below the surface of Earth named Arcadia, with its own small sun called Terra. When Terra became ill, the Arcadian citizens began to search for a cure, facing dangers such as the clay armies of a Chinese emperor, a giant cosmic chess game, and even Alice's Wonderland as they traveled on their sentient robot spaceship named Terrig. An English dub of the show aired on Nickelodeon from 1985 to 1987, and a new intro was created by the band Menudo for Season 2. The show continued to be rebroadcast on Saturday mornings through the early 1990s. Despite a French DVD release, the English version never saw a physical release. While many of the episodes are available online, 10 episodes, 5 from Season 1 and 5 from Season 2, had gone missing. On April 11, 2023, Lost Media Wiki user Garrett CRW found the entire series available on SBS On Demand in Australia. With the help of another user named Neo the Bird from MySpleen, they were able to rip the series before it was taken down and post it to archive.org.
Mario NetQuest. While a wide variety of Super Mario games have been produced over the years, Mario NetQuest was the very first web browser game to feature Mario. This game was officially backed by Nintendo, though produced by an early web design company known as C3. Gameplay itself was a simple whack-a-mole style layout with Mario characters. Oddly enough, the reason this game existed was to promote a new model of IBM computer. Mario NetQuest was virtually unknown, though rediscovered by chance by Reddit user Waifu Groove on April 14th. Following this find, the game was preserved by Flashpoint Archives.
Family Game Night. Imagine if board games were supersized to real life and turned into interactive game shows for contestants. This was the premise of the show Family Game Night, which aired in 2010 on the Hub Network. The show was hosted by Todd Newton and ran for 5 seasons. Reruns of the show would continue until 2016. However, once Discovery stopped during the show, finding any remaining episodes became a challenge. It wasn't until January 6, 2019, that Lost Media Wiki forum user Ethan Parmet created a thread with the goal of locating 2 game shows from the Hub Network, The Game of Life and Family Game Night. While some replies referred to Tubi TV, an online streaming service, eventually the episodes listed there were also removed. Over the course of the next 4.5 years, a number of people collaborated to find the episodes, contacting Tubi TV, Discovery Plus, and even Todd Newton, the game show host. Through a combined effort, all of the episodes were eventually gathered on April 17th, 2023, and the entire show is now available on the Internet Archive.
The Humpback Hop. On March 17, 2022, a user named MusicMasterYT created a thread on the Lost Media Wiki forums regarding a background song called The Humpback Hop from the animated television show SpongeBob SquarePants. Claiming it is one of the most sought-after tracks, MusicMasterYT explained that the composer, Theo Mondel, no longer had the original master. In the episode Party Pooper Pants, the track can be heard, but due to sound effects and audio layovers, a clean rip of the song cannot be done. In their post, MusicMasterYT urges users to contact Nickelodeon, who has the rights to the track, as well as THQ Nordic or Purple Lamp Studios, asking for them to put the song in their game, SpongeBob SquarePants Cosmic Shake. It is not known how many users fulfilled MusicMasterYT's request. However, one user named DarkRage6 did post a response they received from THQ Nordic, where the company stated that they would forward the request to the production department. 7 months later, on April 28, 2023, user Eureka1989 shared a link to the song, which had finally been found, and was posted on Sponge Divers Music's YouTube channel.
James Bond Car Collection, UK ad. From 2007 to 2017, there was a magazine series called The James Bond Car Collection, which was dedicated to showcasing a comprehensive collection of model cars featured in the James Bond movies. Each issue in the series comprised of a magazine and a 1:43 diorama model of a James Bond car from one of the movies. Designed and created by Universal Hobbies, a few examples of the collection pieces include the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger, the Aston Martin Vanquish from Die Another Day, and the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me. The magazine contained the technical details for the cars released alongside it, as well as other content related to the films. In total, 135 issues were released over a 10-year period. While the James Bond Car Collection originated in the UK, other countries also published the series. These international versions are readily available. However, the original UK advertisement could not be found anywhere. And not only did these advertisements from other countries feature different cars compared to the UK version, but they also had other variations and were not simply redubs of the original ad. It wasn't until April 28, 2023 that YouTuber Blue Frog would finally upload the original advertisement in its entirety.
My Somber Existence. In 2001, a Canadian nu metal band called Nerve Pitch released their demo titled How We Change. Following the demo release on November 26, 2002, the band played a showcase show for Roadrunner Records. A few months later, on January 25th, 2003, the band released their first album, titled My Somber Existence. However, the band failed to get signed to Roadrunner Records. And after playing their last show on February 1st, the band's activity on social media stopped. Despite never making a formal announcement, the band ultimately disbanded. Of the 11 tracks on their album, only 5 songs remained available in very low quality. The bassist, John, lost the album in a house fire, while the drummer Scotty B did not have the original record. The vocalist, Ryan Moonlight, unfortunately passed away in 2015. However, the guitarist, Julius Snyder, was eventually tracked down by an LMW user and Nu Metal Preservation Discord server member named Infrareign. Julius explained that he had ripped the files from the CD to his computer in the highest audio quality, but had yet to release them due to being very busy with work. Following their conversation, Julius sent the files for the entire album, their demo, and a live show to Infrareign, and told her that she was free to share with anyone. On April 29th, 2023, the full album was shared on the Kaylee's Crimson Rarities YouTube channel. One month down and 2 more to go. If you want to support the Lost Media Wiki directly and their preservation attempts, head on over to patreon.com/lostmediawiki. A Charlie Brown Valentine with Tiger Woods. Jimmy Kimmel Live is a late-night talk show created and hosted by Jimmy Kimmel himself. The show sometimes features skits in the format of the animated show Peanuts. For years, fans thought that these skits were not real, since sources referring to them were unreliable. One such source, and the earliest known evidence of a Valentine skit, comes from an article from Portland Mercury that states, Jimmy Kimmel presents this updated version of the Charlie Brown Valentine special, in which Snoopy gets a little advice on pitching woo from Tiger Woods. To add some context, back in 2009, world-famous golfer Tiger Woods had a car accident, which would be the catalyst for a series of news publications about his private life, revealing that he had extramarital affairs with over half a dozen different women. As evidence of this, some of the text messages he had sent had been publicly exposed. The Valentine skit from Jimmy Kimmel Live had Snoopy type some messages and share them with some of the female characters from the show. The messages Snoopy types are allegedly the same as the text messages Tiger Woods had sent some of the women. For anyone who doubted the existence of this Valentine skit, on May 1st, 2023, a Lost Media Wiki user named Corentin Siegfried found the original episode on archive.org, with the skit being available at the 12-minute mark.
Castlevania, the arcade. What may very well be the rarest released Castlevania game is Castlevania the Arcade. Released only to Japanese arcades in 2009, the arcade cabinet is large and unique. The game itself is similar to House of the Dead but with motion controls, and did poorly upon release. For these reasons, this arcade machine is extremely rare and difficult to obtain. Though, despite that, Castlevania the Arcade has been sought after by fans for years. Few cabinets have been obtained by collectors, but preserving the game itself has proven to be very difficult. That is, until May 6th, when Dremcast, a member of the video game Esoterica Discord server, made the game playable for the very first time on Windows.
4Cat and 7 years ago. Between the years 2011 and 2017, a Newgrounds user and musician named 4Cat became popular for producing songs that openly mocked one of the Newgrounds audio portal moderators named Broken Deck, who supposedly referred to 4Cat's music as spam. 4Cat's grudge against Broken Deck led to inspiration for a number of songs, including All I Do Is Spam, Broken Dis, 4Cat Is the Best, Broken Deck Perspective, and Spam for 4Cat Spam. On October 2nd, 2016, 4Cat uploaded a Name Your Own Price EP to his Bandcamp page titled 4Cat and 7 Years Ago, which featured 6 different tracks, some of which were collaborations with other artists and friends of his from Newgrounds. However, in 2019, this album, as well as 4Cat's Newgrounds account, would be taken down and any music that wasn't fully archived was lost. Reasons for the music's removal remain a mystery, and it's still unknown whether 4Cat was actually banned from Newgrounds or not. On June 9th, 2022, Internet Archive user Ara Bomb Goes Off uploaded a large number of 4Cat songs to the site, but only 2 of the 6 tracks from the EP had been found. It wasn't until nearly a year later, on May 8th, 2023, that Lost Media Wiki user @Risk Media Archive would find and upload the full EP to YouTube.
Moonkiki's Castles. Released in 2002, Moonkiki's Castles was only downloadable through the now-defunct Club Nokia service. In addition, this very early mobile game was only playable on one specific phone model, the Nokia 3410. It was the very first mobile game with 3D graphics, and ran on the Java ME platform. Because this game will only run on one specific Nokia phone, extracting the file and making it playable elsewhere had proven difficult. In 2017, Lost Media Wiki user QWERTY36078 had obtained the game file itself, though it was finally on May 9th of this year that 2 playable variants were made available online, courtesy of David Richardson and Vanessa Sammers.
Plunderbirds Talk Robots. Robot Wars is a robot combat game show that aired on BBC from 1998 to 2004, and from 2016 to 2018. One prominent team from the show, named the International Rec Crew, competed in the first 5 main series, as well as the spin-off called Robot Wars Extreme Series 1. Their machines all ran with the Plunderbird alias, with Plunderbird 2 reaching the semi-finals of Series 2, and being their most successful. Even more popular than their machines, the main team members Mike Onslow and Brian Kilburn became well known among Robot Wars fans, due to their tough guy personas on screen, as well as for their helpfulness behind the scenes. They also won the Sportsmanship Award for Series 2, and their first machine, Plunderbird 1, earned the Best Design Award in Series 1. In 2016, Mike Onslow made plans to create a mockumentary film that would cover the team's history of creating machines, interviews, robot combat, and educational events, and more. In 2017, they worked with Kinemacolor Media to film the mockumentary titled Plunderbirds Talk Robots, and in July 2018, they had a teaser trailer ready for the public. However, after a failed Kickstarter campaign in February 2019, the film remained incomplete and unreleased. That is, until the 45-minute film was quietly released on Amazon Prime a few years later. Due to lack of announcement, it wasn't until May 2023 that the film's release would become common knowledge to the robot combat community.
Rock Odyssey. In 1981, Hanna-Barbera came up with the idea for an animated TV special called Rock Odyssey. Directed by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, with co-direction by Robert Taylor, the special takes the viewer through a tour of rock history with an animated jukebox host, voiced by Scatman Crothers. It received negative reviews and was never released on VHS or DVD. On top of that, it was never even aired on US television, only being screened once at the Los Angeles International Animation Celebration in 1987. Due to this, the film was lost for many years. In 2018, a version of the film was released by Lost Media Wiki user Natelu. This version was created using a combination of the high-quality Spanish VHS tape and a low-quality English cell phone recording. However, uploads continued to be removed from archive.org and YouTube, hinting that Warner Bros. Was still making copyright claims on the special. A few years later, in May 2023, a user sent a copy of the official English version from a Sky TV broadcast in 1993 to Lost Media Wiki user Natelu, who then uploaded it to Google Drive, finally rendering this film 100% found.
JBVO Dragon Ball Z episode. This find is definitely one of the highlights of 2023. JBVO was a short-lived programming block and spin-off of the Cartoon Network show Johnny Bravo that lasted from February 2000 to August 2001. The block involved Johnny Bravo taking on various cartoon requests from viewers who called into the show. While most involved shorter cartoon segments, one featured a unique sped-up episode of the anime Dragon Ball Z. In addition, Johnny Bravo himself narrated the clip. This specific episode has been highly sought after within the community for years, and was even doubted to exist at all. It was finally on May 14th when the full episode surfaced, courtesy of a Discord user named Sandra's Planet, whose mother had worked on JBVO itself.
Fist Firehead. On August 4th, 2007, a user named DarkFallsX uploaded video footage to YouTube of an unreleased, incomplete game called Fist Firehead that was made for the first Xbox console. The game was being produced by Canadian company Beenox Studios. The game is absolutely terrible. DarkFallsX writes in the video description, as the controls were clunky, there was a lack of a lock-on feature, and the balance was poor to the point where enemies were damage sponges and the player would die in just a few hits. The game was rejected by Microsoft as an Xbox release candidate, however Beenox would proceed to give the game a visual update and continue to work on it for another 6 months, before ultimately cancelling the production after a second rejection by Microsoft. Quote, "I worked on enough games to know that if this hasn't been fixed by late beta, it most likely wouldn't be fixed at all," said DarkFallsX with regards to the controls and camera. Despite the unreleased state of the game, a full copy of the game's final beta version was found and uploaded to archive.org in its preserved state. Interestingly, the uploader was also DarkFallsX, the same person who posted the original gameplay footage 15 years ago, though they claimed they were not one of the coders and had, quote, "very little involvement with the project."
Class of 96. Class of 96 was a Fox teen drama that saw a brief run in the year 1993, lasting from only January to May of that year and spanning 17 episodes. The show, meant to be similar in nature to Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place, received mixed reviews. It was ultimately cancelled due to poor ratings. No home video release was ever seen, and Class of 96 became lost. VHS recordings of the show had surfaced over the years, but no significant finds were made until this year, when 12 of the 17 episodes were recovered. 8 on February 5th and the last 4 on May 16th by LMW users Grigio Guy and nsmith15 respectively.
Gremlins, R-rated screenplay. Gremlins is a 1984 American comedy horror film written by Chris Columbus and directed by Joe Dante with Steven Spielberg as an executive producer. The film features Zach Galligan as Billy Peltzer, a young man who receives a bizarre creature known as a mogwai as a pet. The pet soon begins to multiply rapidly. Despite warnings to avoid exposing the creature to bright light, water, or feeding it after midnight, circumstances soon escalated to a point where the situation spiraled out of control. This led to the transformation of the mogwai into mischievous gremlins that unleashed havoc on Billy's hometown. The film was released to commercial and critical acclaim, though not without controversy. Some people felt that the film was too violent for the expected standard of a PG film. A month later, the Motion Picture Association created the PG-13 rating to better accommodate films like Gremlins. The interesting thing about all of this is that the initial screenplay for Gremlins was even more dark and violent. Upon reading the screenplay for the first time, Steven Spielberg called it, quote, "one of the most original things he had come across in many years." After collaborating with Spielberg, Columbus was able to tone down the story, resulting in the version that was ultimately released. While the original screenplay was never officially made public, it did indeed circulate the dark corners of the industry, until ending up in a collection owned by Lost Media Wiki user YoshiKiller2s. Apparently, YoshiKiller had the screenplay in his collection for around a year, until May 17th, 2023, when another user, Acrylic, would notify YoshiKiller that the screenplay was for the original R-rated version and not the PG draft.
Brainstem preview version. Similar to the Humpback Hop, Brainstem was a song featured in the classic 90s show Pinky and the Brain. However, a preview of the song was aired before the show's premiere, and it was somewhat different from the original version, with Brain saying at one part, "Now let's get the show on the road, yes," instead of, "That ought to keep the little squirts happy, yes." Other than a brief mention on a tribute page to Kids WB, no footage of this preview had surfaced until May 17th, 2023, when Peter Paltridge, the writer of the tribute page, ripped a recording of the promo from a VHS tape he had found and uploaded it to Twitter.
LEP's World Run. Throughout 2004, a company by the name Nairbyte was developing the fourth title of their franchise, titled LEP's World Run. On November 18th, 2014, a trailer was released showcasing the gameplay, with the game eventually being released for iOS. While other games in the LEP's World franchise were platformer titles similar to Super Mario Bros., LEP's World Run was more similar to an endless runner. At some point after the release of Lep's World Run, copyright claims were made against the title by Dev Sisters, the developers of a similar product called Cookie Run. Lep's World Run ended up being pulled from the App Store, and all the video footage of the game was removed from YouTube. Apparently, Nairbyte received a lot of backlash in online threads and forums regarding the title. Despite the game's disappearance, it was eventually found on May 20th, 2023 by Blue Jay Dude Productions, who extracted the .ipa file of the game and uploaded it to archive.org.
Rayman Garden. The Rayman series of video games has been developed by Ubisoft since the year 1995, though an unusual puzzle game spin-off was created in the year 2002. Rayman Garden was developed by Gameloft and was only made available on 2 very specific Mitsubishi phone models. Due to this, the game fell into obscurity and very little was known about it. Footage of Rayman Garden surfaced in 2018 and 2019, though the game itself was not provided until May 20th of 2023. While the game has been dumped in full, as of right now, the ROM itself remains unplayable.
Milkcan.com promotional interviews. Due to its catchy title, you may have heard of the game Parappa the Rapper, which was released on the PlayStation in 1996. But did you know there was a follow-up title called Jammer Lammy developed by the same company? Jammer Lammy featured a fictional band called Milk Can, who were marketing their new album called Make It Sweet. There was even a promotional website, milkcan.com, that featured short versions of the interviews of the 3 band members, Katie Cat, Lammy, and Ma-san. Despite the extremely thorough archives of the website dating back to the year 2000, the interviews were once lost. On May 11th, 2022, Rodney Allen Greenblatt, the graphic artist who made the visual style of Parappa the Rapper and Jammer Lammy, uploaded the Katie Cat, Ma-san, and Lammy short interviews onto his YouTube channel, and acknowledged their lost status on Twitter. A little over a year later, on May 23rd, 2023, Eric Yaki, founder of Unit E Technologies, discovered a CD-ROM of the arcade version of the game Jammer Lammy Now, which not only presented all 3 of the full interviews, but also featured over 15 minutes of other video content from the game, most of which have been considered lost media since 1999. Eric Yaki ripped and upscaled the content from the CD-ROM and shared it on his YouTube channel, Eric Yaki.
Be Safe with the Tweenies, Knives. Be Safe with the Tweenies was a series of short episodes aimed at children between the ages of 0 and 8. The series focused on safety in various scenarios, and the episodes aired alongside the show CBeebies between the years 2002 and 2009 on BBC. While most of the episodes of Be Safe with the Tweenies are available on YouTube, one episode in particular had been considered lost media. The episode Knives appears to only have aired once according to the BBC Program Index, on September 26, 2005. According to Milo Jennings, who rediscovered and archived the episodes, the Knives episode was banned by BBC for its depiction of the usage of knives. The episode had been missing until May 26, 2023, when it was uploaded to YouTube by a user named Galaxy Vault 2.
Amulet. Based on the novel by Vladimir Drost called The Lone Wolf, Amulet is a 1991 supernatural horror film and a rare example of horror in the history of Ukrainian cinema. The film's story revolves around 2 brothers who leave rural Polska to seek a better life in Kiev. When one of the brothers dies, the other attempts to take over his work and slowly begins to lose his humanity, ultimately turning into an undead monster. There were a number of times when the film's production stopped and production companies changed. When the film was finally completed, it was screened in several film clubs and in a special broadcast on UTI/First National Channel of Ukrainian Television, but never saw a theatrical release. The last known screening of Amulet was on October 5th, 2022. Nearly a year later, the film was found by the From Outer Space group in association with the Russian Lost Media Wiki Discord server, and it was uploaded to vk.com.
PGA Tour Golf 2 Heartbeat Catalyst version. PGA Tour Golf 2 is a golf video game developed by Polygon Games and released on the Sega Genesis in 1992. It was the first sequel of the long-running PGA Tour series. PGA Tour Golf 2 launched to critical and commercial success, so much so that it was one of the few titles considered for the Heartbeat Catalyst, a fitness sensor hardware released by the Heartbeat Corporation. It was released exclusively in the United States on November 24, 1993, as a Sega Genesis add-on, and only 4 games were compatible with the system, making these games some of the rarest pieces of Sega Genesis history. Only 1,000 units of the Catalyst were produced. Unfortunately, the system saw poor sales, and the Heartbeat Corporation encountered difficulties in marketing and selling the device. Less than 1 year after its release, the company canceled production of any remaining hardware and software projects and transferred its tangible assets to a sister corporation, which ultimately dissolved on September 8, 1997. With the disappearance of the Heartbeat Catalyst, the Catalyst version of PGA Tour Golf 2 was considered extremely low in supply and one of the single rarest commercially available Sega Genesis games in existence. During a Portland Retro Gaming Expo in the mid-2010s, a private collector and YouTuber, Video Games Experiment, collaborated with YouTuber VidjaGamer to produce a video revealing the key differences between the base game and the Catalyst version. At the expo, the game was evaluated by a panel of experts who valued it between $2,000 to $4,000. After meeting with video game preservationist Frank Cifaldi, a ROM dump of the game was conducted and tested on an EverDrive. However, this ROM dump did not see a public release. It wasn't until May 30th, 2023 that a ROM dump of an older version of the game was uploaded to archive.org by user Isaiah MV after they had obtained a version from a Video Game History Foundation user. An identical version of the game was then dumped by the Hidden Palace on June 19th, 2023 after a prototype owner of the game, Brian Nocenti, shared and contributed it to the Hidden Palace.
Roly-Poly's World Tour. The Roly-Poly series of educational CD-ROMs were released exclusively in Japan in the year 1997 by famous digital artist Osamu Sato. The series consists of Roly-Poly's Nanakorobi Yaoki and Roly-Poly's World Tour. They were intended for an early childhood audience. Gameplay was meant to teach the alphabet as well as history. Physical copies of these games had appeared on online auction sites, albeit rarely. A demo disc for World Tour was even found in a 1998 issue of Mac People magazine. That first entry in the series, Nanakorobi Yaoki, was found in full back in 2019, though it wasn't until May 31st of 2023 when World Tour was found in full by Reddit user BakuDD in collaboration with Potato Impact of the Osamu Sato Discord server.
Gluco Boy. Like I said before, the Game Boy had some weird peripherals, and one of those was the Gluco Boy, a Game Boy glucose meter, as strange as that sounds. Being released only in Australia in 2007, the device sold only 70,000 units and was only made available at the end of the GBA's lifespan, making it difficult to come across. Because of its rarity, the Gluco Boy was only seen in glimpses through newspaper articles and documentary footage, mainly just because of how strange of an idea it was. It wasn't until May 31st, 2023, when the full Gluco Boy kit, with a retail build of the software itself, was found and preserved by the Video Game History Foundation.
Dream on the Run. Dream on the Run is a Canadian crime film directed by John Edwards, which aired on Global TV on March 7, 1977. After failing to find investors, Edwards financed the movie himself and filmed sporadically between 1973 and 1977. After the initial airing of the film, it was not made public until 2023. The only known extant copy of the film is currently held by the Library and Archives of Canada, LAC, on videotape. In February 2022, Reddit user Temporary Stope made a post to initiate a search for this film. User Abekadare discovered that the film was preserved by the LAC and that it was possible to order a copy. Due to confusion concerning the current rights holders, it took over 15 months before digital copies of the film were finally granted in May 2023. On June 1st, 2023, the film was finally uploaded onto the Internet Archive by LMW user QuickFox2013, who acquired a copy of the movie after gaining permission from the copyright holder.
Star in the Forces of Evil. Star vs. the Forces of Evil is a Disney Channel cartoon that ran from 2015 to 2019. 4 years prior, in 2011, series creator Darren Nefsey created a test pilot titled Star and the Forces of Evil. It was shown to Disney and featured various plot and design differences. The pilot was never shown publicly beyond this, besides a couple of clips. It wasn't until June 2nd of this year that Star and the Forces of Evil surfaced in the most unexpected of ways, via a comment on the Lost Media Wiki. The 13-minute pilot had initially surfaced on 4chan via a Catbox link, but went unnoticed until this comment by a user named Eliatoria.
Microforce. Microforce was a short 3D anime film shown at Oji Fantasyland, an amusement park that existed in Tamano, Okayama Prefecture from 1989 to 1995. Together with Cherrytown Monogatari, the film was produced by Toei Animation to commemorate the opening of the park. After the initial airing at the park's Poppy Cinema Theater, the film had been lost and only hints of its existence remained, such as a key visual image from a 1989 Toei Animation brochure. It wasn't until June 9th of 2023 that YouTube user Asakusa Taro uploaded a copy of the film that they digitized from a videotape that belonged to their grandfather. This upload finally made the film available.
Social Security System, Construction Worker. The Philippine Social Security System, a state-run social insurance program, ran a public service announcement in 1998 related to accident insurance on RPM 9 and IBC 13. The PSA shows a construction worker discussing SSS with their boss. The worker takes off their hat during the conversation, but an accident occurs where another worker drops a sledgehammer. Just as the sledgehammer is about to hit them, the screen fades to black and displays messages related to employers' obligations to comply with SSS laws. The PSA was aired again in 2004 and was considered lost media after its final airing. In 2021, a user attempted to upload the PSA to YouTube, but was subsequently terminated for multiple third-party claims of copyright infringement. However, on June 11th of this year, Patrick Roque found a copy of the PSA and uploaded it to the comment section of a Facebook post, finally rendering it found.
Hymen o Hymeni. Hymen o Hymeni, or Roman Wedding, is a painting by Filipino painter Juan Luna. Luna was known as a painter, sculptor, and political activist of the Philippine Revolution during the late 19th century. He's considered one of the very first internationally known Philippine artists. It's been long held that his painting of the Roman Wedding was destroyed during the Philippine Revolution. Due to Luna's fame and the air of mystery surrounding the piece, it's been hailed by many art collectors as the holy grail of Philippine art. Luna worked on his painting during his honeymoon, and scholars speculate that the imagery in the painting mirrors his own wedding, which had drawn heavy disapproval due to the two's difference in social status and race. The last time the painting had been shown to the public was when it won bronze at the 1889 Paris World's Fair, the same event where the Eiffel Tower was revealed. It wasn't until Jamie Ponce de Leon of Leon Gallery took it upon himself to chase down leads around Europe for a period of over 10 years that the piece would finally be found in 2014. He then spent almost a decade waiting for the perfect moment to reintroduce the painting to the world. And in 2022, he finally agreed to loan the painting to the Ilia Museum. And on June 12, 2023, to commemorate the 125th anniversary of Philippine independence, Hymen o Hymeni was finally shown to the public as the centerpiece of the show.
Super Y pilot. The highly sought-after Super Y pilot was always a hot topic within the lost media community, and search efforts have persisted for years now. In case you are unfamiliar, Super Y is a computer-animated television show that aired from 2007 to 2016 on PBS Kids. The show is about a kid who lives in Storybrooke Village with his friends. Each episode presents a super big problem, a super big question, or a super big mystery that the kids have to solve. They then discuss the situation at the book club and fly into the book of a famous story in order to use their literacy skills to overcome obstacles. By overcoming these obstacles, they are rewarded with super letters, which form the solution to the scenario they are facing. While the show ultimately aired as a CGI production, the initial pilot episode that was pitched to Nick Jr. in 1999 was actually made using stop-motion animation by Cup of Coffee Studios in Toronto, Canada. Allegedly, the pilot was initially greenlit by Nick Jr., but was eventually cancelled in favor of another show called Oswald. On June 12, 2023, YouTubers The Old Washington Resident and Melody were able to find and release a copy of the full pilot after contacting the Annecy Film Festival, where the pilot won an award for educational, scientific, or industrial film in 2000.
Blackadder pilot. Blackadder is a British period sitcom that aired on BBC One from 1983 to 1989. Each series is set in a different period of British history, beginning in 1485 and ending in 1917. The series was written by Richard Curtis and Rowan Atkinson. Atkinson also starred as the protagonist, Edmund Blackadder, who in each series is a descendant of the same British family dynasty. The show was critically acclaimed and often ranked as one of the best British sitcoms of all time. Though the show initially aired in 1983, the pilot episode, titled The Black Adder, was produced in 1982 and never aired on British TV until 2023, when the TV channel Gold, a channel that primarily airs classic British sitcoms, broadcast the episode as part of its celebration of the show's 40th birthday. The episode was shown on June 15th, 2023, alongside the documentary Blackadder, The Lost Pilot, hosted by Tony Robinson.
Turn On. In possibly the weirdest entry on our list, Turn On is an experimental sketch comedy series that was premiered on February 5th, 1969 on ABC. The show is the first and only American TV series to ever be cancelled not just after, but during the airing of its first episode. By the time it reached the Central Time Zone, outrage by affiliate stations had already caused the show to be pulled off the network and buried without a trace. Although modern critiques of the show are somewhat mixed, it remains consensus that airing such a show during primetime was a mistake. With its combination of fast edits, split screens, random messages, and credits across the screen under the avant-garde soundtrack, the show was unnerving and confusing, leaving viewers uncomfortable. Noah Houlihan from the Plus 2 comedy series Stay Doomed compared the show to a, quote, Vine compilation video if it was produced by Tim and Eric, the American comedy duo known for a number of their Adult Swim television series. Despite being lost over the years, on June 17th, 2023, YouTube user Phil Rock uploaded both completed episodes in full.
A Little Inappropriate, the pilot episode. On January 2007, HBO announced the development of a show called A Little Inappropriate by Larry Charles, starring musician Kanye West. The project was inspired by Kanye's real-life experience, with episodes focusing on days in the life of the busy star. In 2008, the project was indefinitely shelved and wasn't seen again until 2013 at an unofficial screening. The pilot episode is fairly similar to Curb Your Enthusiasm, with Kanye even referring to himself as the Black Larry David. In an interview with Larry Charles from September 2008, Charles stated that he believed the project had been shelved for being too hardcore for HBO. There are speculations that other factors may have contributed, such as shifting management at HBO, and that HBO weren't satisfied with the product, claiming there wasn't enough Kanye West in it. Despite the cancellation, on June 18th, 2023, Reddit user Sam Vision announced on the r/goodass-sub that they found the pilot episode on Larry Charles' Vimeo. The pilot was accidentally made public and has since been preserved.
Bubble Guppies pilot. While lost pilots of kids shows have always been a popular topic within the community, the rediscovery of the Bubble Guppies pilot was very unexpected and somewhat mysterious. Bubble Guppies is an animated series on Nick Jr. produced by Wild Brain Entertainment. Revolving around 6 fish-tailed children, the series covers their education about various preschool topics with their teacher, Mr. Grouper. The show premiered around 2011 and became a success, with episodes still being produced to this day. Despite the achievement, the pilot episode that was first pitched to Nickelodeon and greenlit was lost for many years and had fallen into obscurity. Prior to June 2023, only one small clip, some 2D images, and a screenshot, along with concept art images, were all that had resurfaced. The plot of the pilot was unknown. It wasn't until June 20th, 2023, that an anonymous user named Doria shared a pitch document by the original creators of the series, as well as a Catbox link containing the full unaired pilot. It remains unknown how the user obtained this content.
The second arrangement. Back in 1979, when the band Steely Dan was working on their album Groucho, there was a particular composition that had been a favorite of Gary Katz, the producer, and engineer Roger Nichols. The composition, titled The Second Arrangement, was intended to be included in the album. However, in late 1979, after weeks of working on one of the records for the track, approximately 75% of the song was accidentally erased by a junior engineer, who Katz had asked to ready the track for listening. When lead singer Donald Fagen heard the news, it is said that he simply walked out of the studio without saying a word. Despite attempts to re-record the song, the production was ultimately dropped due to takes not being satisfactory to the core band members and co-founder Walter Becker and Donald Fagen, who were both well-known perfectionists. The song ended up being replaced by another demo song the band had written, called Were You Blind That Day?, which would ultimately be released as Third World Man on the final album. On August 24th, 2020, the official Roger Nichols account on Facebook posted and revealed that they had found an untouched tape from their mother's possession of the infamous The Second Arrangement tape, before it got accidentally erased. In addition to this, a digital audio tape was also discovered that contained a cleaner recording of the same mix, but also featured vocals from Fagen that are missing from the audio cassette version. Digitization of the recording was finalized in March of 2023, and 3 months later, on June 24th, the second arrangement finally became available digitally via a Substack blog newsletter called The Expanding Dan. It's also said that the original cassette tape recording will soon be sold at an auction.
Detour Pilot. Detour is a 2015 TV pilot created by Steve Franks, the creator of Psych, loosely based on the frontman of the rock band Weezer. The show was about Rivers Cuomo taking a break from the band in order to go to college. Although the pilot episode had been ordered by Fox and filming had been complete, it has never been aired or released. While the script has long been readily available online, it wasn't until June 25th, 2023 that YouTuber Media Garbage acquired a DVD of this lost pilot episode from Fox and shared the full episode to YouTube.
Zap the Magical Computer. Zap the Magical Computer is a 3D animated children's educational film created in 1997. Although the film was released directly to VHS, due to several in-film references, it is suspected that it likely originally served as a pilot pitch for a television series. Produced by Tons Entertainment and created by Anthony Amato and John T. Quinn III, the film revolves around Zap, a magical talking computer from planet Xena. In the film, Zap gains powers when he learns, and his mentor and fellow machine teacher go on a quest to find out who stole all of the number 8s on Earth. Over the years, remnants of the film had been uploaded as edited clips by Anthony Amato, with superimposed text introductions explaining the origins of the film or Amato's thoughts on the clip. Before June 2023, the closest complete sample of the film was a video compilation of these clips, edited together without the text introductions, by YouTuber Grey Fruit. However, on June 27, 2023, Internet Archive and LMW Discord user Remiculous obtained a VHS copy of the film and transferred it to DVD. The film was then digitized and uploaded to the archive as well as YouTube and is now available for anyone to watch in full.
Don Quixote. In 1999, Orion Walker and Richard Zangrande Galbert created an indie comedy film called Don Quixote. Other than the trailer and an IMDb review, little is known about the movie. According to the review, the film was about a, quote, young struggling artist who doesn't realize they have any talents. The film reportedly never saw an official release due to lack of a distributor. However, the soundtrack for the film did see a release and was moderately successful. Robert Schneider, who composed much of the music, released one of the movie's songs titled Boats on the Water as an extra on his album Expo in 2006. On November 22nd, 2021, it was confirmed that the film was being withheld from release because the manager of the band Guided by Voices had not approved the release, despite the band's performing songs for the film. However, on June 29th of this year, a watermark screener version of the film was uploaded to the UGA Special Collections website by Robert Schneider, who owned a copy.